Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Tunist English. I'm Jack.
And I'm Lily. We are so happy to have you here with us today. If you're looking to improve your English listening skills while learning something valuable about life, you are in the right place.
That's right. Today, we're diving into a topic that might sound a bit controversial. We're talking about why I, and many other people lately, have decided to stop watching the news.
It's a big move, Jack. Most people feel like they have to watch the news to be a responsible citizen. They feel like if they don't know what's happening in the world, they are out of the loop.
Exactly. Out of the loop. That's a great idiom to start with. It means not having the information that others have. But today, we're going to discuss why being out of the loop might actually be the best thing for your mental health and your productivity.
We'll also look at some advanced English vocabulary and expressions along the way. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and let's get started.
Lily, let me ask you, what's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning?
Honestly, I used to reach for my phone immediately. I'd check the headlines, scroll through Twitter, or X as it's called now, and see what happened while I was asleep.
I was the exact same way. I felt this urge, this strong desire to know everything immediately. I thought that by knowing about every crisis, every political argument, and every natural disaster, I was being informed.
But were you actually informed, or were you just stressed?
That's the golden question. I realized that within 5 minutes of waking up, my heart rate was already climbing. I was reading about things thousands of miles away that I had absolutely no control over.
This is what psychologists call headline stress disorder. It's not a medical diagnosis, but it describes the anxiety people feel from a constant barrage of negative news.
A barrage, that's a strong word. It means a large number of things coming at you very quickly, like a barrage of bullets, or in this case, a barrage of bad news.
And the news is almost always bad, isn't it? There's an old saying in journalism, if it bleeds, it leads.
If it bleeds, it leads. That's a classic phrase. It means that stories about violence, tragedy, or conflict get the most attention, so they are placed at the front of the newspaper or the start of the broadcast.
Because of this, the news gives us a distorted view of the world. It makes the world seem much more dangerous and hateful than it actually is in our daily lives.
So, Lily, I decided to run an experiment. About 6 months ago, I went cold turkey.
Cold turkey. That's another great idiom for our listeners. It means to stop a habit suddenly and completely, rather than doing it gradually.
Right. I deleted the news apps. I stopped visiting the websites. I even stopped following political commentators on social media.
Was it hard at first? Did you feel like you were missing out?
Oh, the FOMO, the fear of missing out, was real. For the first week, I felt twitchy. Every time I had a free minute, my thumb would automatically go to where the news app used to be. I felt like I was in the dark.
In the dark means to be unaware of something. But after that first week, what happened?
I noticed a profound change in my mood. Usually by 10 a.m., I'd be frustrated about some political debate. But without the news, I was just focused. I was thinking about my work, my breakfast, and the weather. I was living in my actual environment, not the digital environment.
I think that's a key point. We often confuse global news with our reality. If I'm sitting in a park and the sun is shining, but I'm reading about a war on my phone, my brain thinks I'm in danger.
Exactly. Our brains haven't evolved to handle a 24-hour stream of global tragedy. In the past, if you heard bad news, it was usually about something in your village that you could actually help fix. Now, we hear about things we can't fix, and that leads to learned helplessness.
Learned helplessness. That's when you feel that no matter what you do, you can't change the outcome. So you just give up and feel depressed.
Here's something I want our Tunist English audience to understand. The news is a business.
That's right. They aren't just providing a public service. They're selling advertisements. And how do they sell ads? By keeping your eyeballs on the screen.
Eyeballs on the screen means getting people to watch. And the best way to keep someone watching is to make them afraid or angry.
It's called sensationalism. This is when news outlets use shocking words or exaggerated details to provoke strong emotional interest.
Think about the words they use. They don't just say there's a disagreement. They say there's a clash, a war, or a meltdown. Everything is breaking news.
If everything is breaking news, then nothing is. It loses its meaning. It's like the boy who cried wolf.
When I realized that these companies were intentionally trying to trigger my fight or flight response just to make money, I felt manipulated. I didn't want to be a pawn in their game anymore.
A pawn is a person who is used by others for their own purposes. By quitting the news, you took back control of your attention.
Let's talk about what I gained. First of all, time.
How much time do you think you were spending on the news daily?
If I'm being honest, probably 2 hours a day. 30 minutes in the morning, checking updates during lunch, and then watching the evening news or scrolling before bed.
2 hours a day. That's 14 hours a week. In 14 hours, you could learn a new skill, go to the gym 4 times, or read a whole book.
Or practice English. Imagine if our listeners spent that news scrolling time watching Tunist English videos. Their fluency would skyrocket.
Definitely. Skyrocket means to increase very rapidly.
Beyond time, I gained mental bandwidth. This is the amount of mental energy you have available to think about things. Because my head wasn't full of filler information, I could focus more on my creative projects.
It's like clearing the clutter from your mind. Clutter is a collection of untidy things. When your mind is cluttered with news, there's no room for your own thoughts.
And I became more present. When I was with my friends, I wasn't checking for updates on a protest in another country. I was actually listening to them.
I've noticed that people who watch a lot of news often become very cynical.
Cynical, that's a good word. It means believing that people are generally selfish and dishonest. When you only see the worst of humanity on the news, you start to believe that's all there is.
But when you look at your own neighborhood, you see people helping each other, neighbors chatting, and people doing their best. Quitting the news helps you reconnect with the local and the human.
Now, Lily, one of the biggest challenges I faced was social situations. People would ask, Jack, did you hear about what happened in the Senate yesterday?
That's the awkward part. What do you say?
At first, I felt embarrassed. I'd say, no, I missed that. And they would look at me like I was crazy, like I was living under a rock.
Living under a rock is a common idiom. It means to be unaware of major events.
But then I changed my approach. Now when someone brings up a news story, I say, no, I haven't heard about that. Tell me about it.
Oh, that's clever. Most people love to explain things.
Exactly. It turns into a conversation. They give me the short version, I get the main facts, and I don't have to spend hours reading the articles myself. I'm using my friends as information filters.
I love that. Information filters. You get the gist of the story without the emotional trauma of the sensationalist headlines.
The gist, that means the general meaning or the main point of something.
And honestly, if something truly important happens, something that actually affects my life, someone will tell me. If a storm is coming to my city, I'll hear about it. From my neighbor or a text alert. I don't need to watch the 24-hour news for that.
Now, some of our listeners might be thinking, Jack, I can't just stop knowing what's happening in the world. That feels irresponsible.
And that's a fair point. We live in a democracy, and being informed is part of our civic duty. So how do we find a middle ground?
A middle ground is a compromise. Here is my suggestion. Switch from breaking news to slow news.
Slow news? Tell us more.
Instead of checking your phone every 10 minutes, read a weekly magazine or a long-form essay. Weekly publications like The Economist or The New Yorker don't focus on what happened 10 minutes ago. They focus on why it happened and what it means.
That's much better for your brain. It's analysis, not just noise.
Also, be intentional. Decide, I will check the news for 20 minutes on Saturday mornings. This way, you are the boss of the information, not the other way around.
I also suggest unfollowing accounts that make you feel angry. If a social media page only posts things to make you outraged, they are hijacking your brain.
Hijacking, to take control of something by force.
That is exactly what happens to our emotions when we scroll through an outrage-driven feed. So, to wrap things up, stopping the news wasn't about being ignorant. It was about being selective.
It's about protecting your peace of mind. Your attention is your most valuable resource. Don't give it away to people who just want to make you scared.
Since I stopped watching the news, I'm happier, I'm more productive, and I actually have a more positive view of my fellow human beings.
That sounds like a win-win situation. For those of you listening, why not try it for a week? Delete those apps for just 7 days and see how you feel.
If you do try it, let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear about your experience. Did you feel more relaxed? Did you find more time for your English studies?
And if you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to subscribe to Tunist English. We post new lessons every week to help you reach your goal of English fluency.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. Remember, focus on what you can control and let the rest go.
Until next time, keep practicing and keep learning.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.